Quantum computers are already rewriting the rules of reality, but have they really gone as far as tapping into the God particle itself? That's the latest claim bouncing around the internet, and now, even renowned physicist Michio Kaku is weighing in. Some say quantum machines have unlocked something so fundamental, so untouchable, that it could flip everything we know about physics on its head. A God particle plug-in. Sounds insane, doesn't it? But here's the real question. Why are so many people talking about it? Let's cut through the noise. The Higgs boson, yeah, the so-called God particle, is what gives everything mass. Without it, no atoms, no planets, no you. Back in 2012, scientists at CERN confirmed its existence, and since then, the Higgs field has been treated like a holy grail in physics. But now, whispers on the internet claim that quantum computers, machines that shouldn't be able to interact with the Higgs field, have done exactly that. Think about that for a second. Quantum computers don't just crunch numbers, they manipulate probabilities, existing in multiple states at once. If they somehow manage to tinker with the Higgs field, even in the smallest way, that wouldn't just be a breakthrough, it would be power itself. And yet, mainstream scientists remain dead silent on the matter. No official statements, no discussions, just a handful of physicists and tech experts laughing it off like it's some ridiculous internet hoax. Michio Kaku wrote an entire book on quantum computing, but strangely, there's not a single mention of the Higgs boson in that discussion. Think that's an accident? Not only this, but quantum computing is about to change medicine forever. And not in some vague, one day in the distant future kind of way. It's happening now, right under everyone's noses. The only question is, are you paying attention? Big Pharma spends billions every year testing chemicals, tweaking molecules, and hoping something sticks. It's slow, it's expensive, and it's mostly guesswork. But quantum computing, it flips the entire process on its head. Traditional computers slog through one possibility at a time. Quantum computers, they process millions simultaneously. They don't just simulate molecules, they predict their behavior with terrifying precision. Take protein hydration. Sounds boring? It's everything when it comes to drug effectiveness. The way a protein interacts with water can determine whether a drug works or fails. But mapping those interactions? Practically impossible with classical computing. Enter quantum-powered hybrid algorithms. These things slice through the chaos like a scalpel, modeling molecular behavior in ways we've never seen before. Pharma companies are already in bed with quantum firms, cooking up breakthroughs that make yesterday's methods look medieval. But that's just the warm-up. Now, imagine detecting cancer before it even becomes a tumor. Not through painful biopsies, not through expensive scans, but through a simple blood test, or better yet, a breath test. Sounds futuristic? It's already happening. Researchers have developed devices that can sniff out cancer markers in under an hour. A paper-based test that detects colorectal and prostate cancer? That exists. Scientists are even working on breath tests for liver, pancreatic, and esophageal cancer. Just exhale, and within days, you have your results. No scalpels, no radiation. Even more shocking, researchers are working on breath tests that can sniff out liver, pancreatic, and esophageal cancers. You exhale. The device analyzes your breath. Within days, you have results. No needles, no radiation, no invasive procedures. Just pure, cutting-edge science doing what it does best. Exposing the truth. But if this becomes mainstream, how many industries stand to lose billions? What happens when quantum computing and liquid biopsies join forces? We're talking about real-time analysis of genetic data at an atomic level. A world where diseases could be detected before they even start developing. Imagine a device so advanced that it scans your blood, deciphers genetic mutations instantly, and tells you exactly what's coming. Sounds incredible, right? Almost too good to be true. And that's exactly why no one in power wants this conversation to go mainstream. Because if quantum computing truly cracks the medical code, the entire system changes. No more expensive treatment plans. No more drawn-out, money-draining hospital visits. just precision medicine, instant diagnostics, and a future where disease isn't managed. It's eliminated before it even starts. Quantum computing isn't just about revolutionizing medicine, it's about cracking the very code of the universe itself. You think space agencies and elite physicists are pouring billions into this technology just for better drug trials? Please. They're using quantum computers to model the birth of the cosmos, simulate the fabric of reality, and maybe, just maybe, peer behind the cosmic curtain to see what's really going on. Here's what they don't tell you. Our universe didn't just pop into existence one day, nice and tidy. The laws of physics as we know them break down at the very beginning. That's where quantum computing comes in. Classical computers choke on the sheer complexity of the equations governing the early universe. But quantum computers, they thrive in chaos. They can simulate quantum fields, model the strange, unpredictable physics of cosmic inflation, and even test theories about what might have existed before the Big Bang. Scientists have already used quantum algorithms to tackle the Wheeler-DeWitt equation, the fundamental equation that describes the quantum state of the universe. You know, the one that could finally explain why reality is the way it is. But let's be honest, how often do you hear about that on the news? And then there's dark matter and dark energy, the invisible forces that make up most of the universe. Mainstream science will tell you, we don't really know what they are. But what if they do? What if quantum computers have already begun revealing the secrets of the so-called dark sector? Researchers have been quietly running quantum simulations on self-interacting gauge fields and conformal scalar fields, models that could explain the nature of dark matter and dark energy. Translation: they're mapping out the invisible structure of the cosmos, and it's more complex than we ever imagined. If they crack this puzzle, we're not just talking about understanding the universe, we're talking about controlling it. But here's where things get even stranger: quantum cosmology. The idea that the universe itself is a quantum object, that it follows the same bizarre, probabilistic rules as particles in a lab. This means reality isn't fixed, it's fluid, changeable, maybe even manipulated. And quantum computing is the key to deciphering it all. Scientists are using these machines to probe the very nature of space-time, to merge quantum mechanics with Einstein's relativity, and to finally answer the biggest question of all: how did everything begin? Or, perhaps more importantly, who or what set it all in motion? And just in case you thought this was all theoretical, let's talk about the computational power at play. Cosmology isn't just some armchair science, it's data. Massive, mind-boggling amounts of data, the kind that would take a traditional supercomputer lifetimes to process. But quantum computers don't play by those rules. They can crunch those numbers, simulate entire universes, and test theories faster than anyone ever thought possible. And once they refine these simulations enough, they won't just be predicting the past, they'll be predicting the future. If quantum computing can decode the universe, what do you think it can do to your private messages, your government's top secret files? Because while everyone's busy marveling at the possibilities, the real story is happening in the shadows. Quantum computers aren't just unlocking the secrets of the cosmos, they're on the verge of smashing through the encryption that protects everything in the digital world. And once that happens, it's open season on every piece of sensitive data ever stored. Right now, the security of your online life, your passwords, financial transactions, even classified military communications, relies on encryption. That's basically just a math problem too hard for classical computers to solve in a reasonable amount of time. RSA, elliptic curve cryptography, all of it hinges on factoring massive numbers or cracking discrete logarithms. That worked fine when regular computers were the only players in the game. But quantum computers don't play by those rules. They cheat. Shor's algorithm, a quantum-powered shortcut, can obliterate the foundation of modern cryptography. What used to take thousands of years to crack, quantum computers will do it in hours, maybe minutes. And while the machines we have today aren't there yet, experts say it's only a decade, maybe less, before the first quantum heist becomes reality. That means the clock is ticking, but the biggest players know what's coming, and they're already preparing. The US government. They've been working on quantum-resistant cryptography for years. In July 2022, NIST rolled out the first 4 encryption algorithms designed to withstand quantum attacks. not a moment too soon either. Because if the wrong people get their hands on a large-scale quantum computer first, global cybersecurity as we know it is done. The financial sector, scrambling. Cloudflare, they've started rolling out quantum-resistant encryption, protecting their networks before the first attack wave hits. But let's ask the real question. If these corporations and government agencies are moving so fast, what do they know that the rest of us don't? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Your data might already be compromised. Some experts suspect that bad actors right now are collecting encrypted data, knowing that in a few years, quantum computers will crack it open like a cheap safe. If that's true, it means your private information is just sitting in a vault, waiting for the day someone finally gets the key. So quantum computers are coming for encryption, the world's most classified secrets, the banking systems, the entire internet at risk. But don't worry. Governments and tech elites have a plan, a new kind of security, a defense mechanism so impenetrable it's practically unhackable, or so they claim. It's called quantum key distribution, and if you believe the hype, it's the only thing standing between us and total digital chaos. Here's the idea. Quantum physics itself becomes the lock and key. Instead of sending encrypted messages the old-fashioned way, QKD transmits quantum states, little packets of pure physics between two parties. And if someone even tries to listen in, boom, the system detects them instantly. That's because quantum mechanics doesn't play nice with spies. The second you measure a quantum state, you change it. No more silent breaches. No more undetectable hacks, just instant exposure. Sounds bulletproof, right? That's exactly why China is racing to dominate the quantum communication game. They've already launched Quest, a quantum satellite linking Beijing to Vienna, beaming secure keys across 7,500 kilometers. In case you missed that, they've created a space-based quantum network, and they didn't stop there. They've built a 2,000-kilometer fiber-optic quantum backbone across China, a network so advanced that it practically makes traditional cybersecurity look like a joke. Meanwhile, Western governments and corporations are scrambling to catch up. In 2019, Chinese researchers pushed QKD even further, sending quantum keys through commercial fiber networks in major cities, proving this tech isn't just for the lab. And in an almost too perfect development, scientists also cracked underwater quantum communication, proving quantum signals can survive through seawater. Now, let's pause for a second. Think about what that means. Deep sea quantum communication, satellite-based quantum cryptography. Why are the most powerful countries on Earth pouring billions into a system that, according to some experts, is still decades from full deployment? What do they know that we don't? Of course, QKD isn't perfect. Not yet. Distance is still a problem. Quantum signals are fragile, and the further they travel, the more they degrade. The hardware? Expensive. Integration? A logistical nightmare. But don't let that fool you. Those are temporary obstacles. The real question isn't if quantum security will take over. It's who will control it first. So quantum encryption is on the rise. The world's data is shifting into a new, untouchable realm. But encryption is just the beginning. Quantum computing isn't just changing how we protect information, it's redefining who controls truth itself. AI is already running the show, shaping everything from your newsfeed to global markets. But it has a problem: misinformation, deepfakes, propaganda, AI-generated lies. It's all spreading faster than we can contain it. And now, some of the biggest names in tech claim they've found the solution. Not better human oversight, not stricter regulations. No, quantum-enhanced AI fact-checking, the ultimate arbiter of truth, powered by quantum speed and machine intelligence. Imagine an AI that doesn't just read data, but processes reality itself. Quantum machine learning models that don't just detect deepfakes, they erase them before you even see them. Algorithms that sift through mountains of information in seconds, identifying anything that doesn't align with the approved version of events. Sounds powerful, right? That's exactly what's happening. NVIDIA, Microsoft, and a handful of other key players are pouring resources into merging AI and quantum computing. NVIDIA's new Quantum Research Center is working with Quantinuum, Quantum Machines, and Quera to build AI systems that make today's fact-checking tools look prehistoric. Microsoft, on the other hand, just unveiled the Majorana 1 chip, an entirely new state of matter, harnessed for quantum computing. Let that sink in. A new state of matter. And what's one of its key applications? Artificial intelligence-driven misinformation detection. Now, let's talk about power, because this isn't just about stopping fake news. It's about who gets to decide what's real. Quantum AI can fuse multiple data sources, text, images, videos, analyzing them simultaneously to detect inconsistencies. But here's the catch. Who defines what's inconsistent? An AI system doesn't have opinions. It enforces rules. And those rules, they're written by the people who own the system. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, scalability. Quantum computing isn't exactly plug and play. The hardware is rare. The energy costs are massive. And yet, these companies are racing to make it work. Why? Because whoever masters quantum AI first doesn't just win the misinformation war, they control the flow of information itself. So quantum AI is on the rise. It's promising to revolutionize everything. Fact-checking, misinformation detection, truth itself. Sounds great, right? A world where fake news is instantly erased, and only the most accurate, verified information remains. But let's take a step back. Because with this kind of power, we're not just talking about correcting the narrative, we're talking about controlling it. Who gets to decide what's real? Governments, corporations, a handful of tech elites sitting behind closed doors? That's where things start getting messy. Because once you give quantum-enhanced AI the keys to information itself, you're not just fact-checking, you're rewriting reality. Governments are already salivating over the possibilities. Imagine a system so powerful it can instantly flag and erase harmful content before anyone even sees it. Who defines harmful? That's the problem. A House subcommittee has already raised alarms about AI-powered mass surveillance and censorship, warning that governments could use these systems to suppress dissent and manipulate public opinion. Of course, officials insist it's all for the greater good, because when has that ever gone wrong? And corporations? They're not exactly known for their unbiased approach either. Meta quietly dropped its third-party fact-checking program, handing the reins over to Community Notes. Sounds harmless until you realize it gives them even more control over what gets amplified and what gets buried. Now imagine that power supercharged by quantum AI, a system that can process billions of data points in real time, subtly shaping what you see, what you believe, and ultimately what you think. And let's not forget the black box problem. AI systems already operate with an alarming lack of transparency. Quantum AI, even worse. These machines function on a level that even their own creators struggle to explain. We've already seen AI-driven decision-making go horribly wrong, like the UK's welfare fraud detection system that disproportionately targeted specific demographics. Now imagine that happening on a global scale, with a machine that no one can question or hold accountable. Regulation? Sure. The Vatican just put out a document urging ethical guidelines for AI, warning about its potential misuse in everything from healthcare to warfare. But let's be real, governments and corporations aren't exactly lining up to police themselves. Laws take years to catch up to technology. By the time they do, the damage is already done. So what's the solution? Some are pushing for diverse oversight, bringing in ethicists, researchers, actual people who aren't just tech executives. Sounds nice, but when the biggest players in the game are also the ones funding these discussions, how much oversight are we really getting? Others argue for strict, enforceable laws to prevent abuse. The problem? Quantum AI doesn't respect borders. What one country bans, another will exploit. Take supply chains. A mess, right? Shortages, delays, skyrocketing costs. It's a logistical nightmare. Classical computers struggle with the sheer complexity of managing thousands of variables across global networks. But quantum algorithms? They cut through that chaos like a scalpel, mapping out the most efficient routes, balancing demand, and minimizing waste in ways traditional models can't even touch. Companies are already using it to squeeze out inefficiencies, saving billions. So, what happens when a handful of corporations can predict market disruptions happens before they happen, when they can reroute supply chains in real time while everyone else scrambles to catch up. Someone's getting rich off this. Spoiler alert, it's not you. And then there's material science. The quest for the perfect material has always been a slow grind, trial, error, and years of painstaking research. But quantum computing, it runs simulations so complex that classical supercomputers would choke just thinking about them. Stronger, lighter, more conductive materials aren't theoretical anymore. They're being designed right now. D-Wave just proved quantum simulations can crack the mysteries of magnetic materials, which is a fancy way of saying new tech is about to hit the market that makes everything we use today look primitive. Think batteries that last 10 times longer, electronics that don't overheat, construction materials that laugh in the face of wear and tear. Now ask yourself, who's funding this? And how much of it is going straight into military applications before the public ever gets a glimpse? Then there's finance, which is the beating heart of the global economy. Quantum computers are already crunching numbers faster than the human mind can comprehend, running risk assessments and optimizing portfolios in ways that make Wall Street's current algorithms look like an abacus. Terra Quantum is already deep in the game, fine-tuning quantum models to optimize collateral and financial forecasting. If you think high-frequency trading gave an unfair advantage to the few who understood it, imagine what happens when hedge funds start predicting market shifts before they exist. If you're not on the right side of this technology, you're not just behind, you're a sitting duck. And what about the big picture? A more efficient world, sure, maybe. But efficiency doesn't always mean fairness. Economic growth? Only if you're in the right circles. Job creation? For who exactly? The average person? Or the highly specialized engineers and researchers who were already in the quantum club before you even heard about it? And let's talk about quality of life, because when corporations hold all the quantum keys, do you think they're unlocking doors for you or locking them behind you? Quantum computing and AI aren't just reshaping the digital world, they're redrawing the map of global power itself. The nations that control these fields won't just be ahead, they'll be untouchable. The rest, destined for irrelevance. Think about it. These technologies aren't just about making life easier or businesses more efficient. They're about total control, economic dominance, military superiority, the ability to decode encrypted communications, manipulate financial markets, and rewrite the very foundation of cybersecurity. And right now, only a select few have the money, the brains, and the infrastructure to wield them. Everyone else is just a spectator. Look at NVIDIA. Their new quantum research hub in Boston isn't just some feel-good science project. It's a fortress, a launch pad for the next digital empire. They're not working alone either. They've aligned with the biggest players: Quantinuum, Quera, Quantum Machines, each one bringing their own arsenal of quantum expertise. Together, they're crafting a future where computational power becomes the ultimate weapon. Their GB200NVL72 system, it's not just another supercomputer. It's a leap toward a world where AI models aren't just trained, they're unleashed. And unless you have a few $1 billion lying around, you're not getting a seat at this table. And then there's China. While Western governments hold endless committee meetings and argue about regulations, China is moving fast. DeepSeek AI sent shockwaves through global markets, slashing nearly $1 trillion off American tech stocks in a single move. That's not just progress, that's a warning shot. The message is clear. China isn't just catching up, it's accelerating. If they break through the final barriers of quantum supremacy before the West does, the balance of power will shift in ways the world isn't ready for. Imagine a world where American intelligence networks are cracked open like a cheap lock, where quantum-encrypted Chinese communications are utterly unbreakable, where the financial and military stability of entire nations depends on whether they're on China's good side. This isn't speculation, it's the trajectory we're already on. And what about the countries that aren't even in the race? The so-called developing nations? They don't just risk being left behind, they risk being owned. The economic disparity between tech superpowers and the rest of the world is about to go from bad to catastrophic. When AI and quantum computing start running global finance, trade, and infrastructure, Countries without access won't just struggle, they'll become completely dependent. Their industries will become obsolete overnight. Their security infrastructures will be laughably outdated. Even their governments will have to rely on foreign-built AI models to make decisions. Models designed, trained, and controlled by outside powers. This isn't just about economics. This is about sovereignty. The nations that master these technologies will set the rules. They'll decide who gets access to crucial resources, who gets to participate in major trade agreements, and who gets left out in the cold. This is the digital age's version of colonialism, only this time, it won't be land that's conquered. It'll be data, economies, and entire national infrastructures. Those without quantum-resistant cybersecurity, exposed. Those without homegrown AI capabilities, manipulated. The world is about to be divided into two camps: those who own the future and those who beg for scraps. Some say international cooperation is the answer, that we can solve this problem with joint research initiatives, policy agreements, and a little goodwill. Cute idea. But let's be real. When has any technological superpower willingly handed over their advantage? When has any nation at the top of the food chain ever stopped and said, hey, let's make sure our competition has access to the same game-changing tech we do? Never. That's not how power works. So what's left? Countries that want to survive this digital divide need to act now, not in 10 years. Not when it's already too late. They need to invest in quantum research, AI development, and cybersecurity infrastructure yesterday. They need to stop relying on foreign tech giants to spoon-feed them scraps of innovation. Do you think quantum could change everything in the future? Or is just one big gimmick?